Hey everyone, it's Pat from Pat Dave Music, and thank you for your question. And got lots of different angles because today we're talking about how high your guitar should be. Now this question came from YouTube, but I get a lot of messages these days on Instagram or Facebook, so definitely add any of my socials below. And if you're having trouble with something, send me a comment, let me know, and I can make a video to help just you. Because I guarantee if this is something that you're sort of wondering or you're pondering or you're thinking, it's not really working, I guarantee there's hundreds or if not thousands of other people out there that are having the same thing. So if I make a video, it can help you and it can help all of those other people. So diving right on in, now this is a topic that a lot of people sort of seem to find it really confusing or really tricky, but you just have to try and sort of back away a little bit, step out of the situation and think about it logically. So with the height of your guitar, now the higher the guitar is, just based on how your wrist, how your arms move, it's gonna be easier for you to play. Now, one of my all-time favorite rock, prog, sort of metal guitarists who's an absolute fiend at playing the guitar, he is a shred legend, he is amazing, John Petrucci, he has his guitar all the way up here, like similar to how the Beatles used to have their guitars. And the reason is because he's playing such ridiculously technical passages, he needs the guitar in the sort of easiest to play position so that there's no extra stress on his wrist, on his elbow, on his arms, everything's just sort of locked in nice and snug like that. Now, as soon as you go lower beyond that position, it starts getting a little bit harder to play unless you hunch forward, and it naturally sort of starts to bring the guitar up. Now, you might have seen maybe bands like Metallica in the 80s, they had their guitars so very, very low, right? Check this out. Really, really low. But I don't know, if they would have had the guitars really high, like the Beatles, maybe it looked a little bit funny, right? So they had the guitars so low and they were hunching so far forward just to try and put less sort of pressure and really just to get into the instrument. Now, I'm not saying that you should have your guitar as high as John Petrucci or the Beatles. I'm not saying you should have it as low as Metallica or other sort of shred or sort of metal bands. I'm just saying that it's something to think about. The higher it is, the easier it is to play. But if it's lower, you might have to hunch a bit forward, but maybe you really want to get into the performance. So maybe that's for you. What I would suggest thinking about this is, do you want your sort of playing to be really clean and to not make a whole lot of mistakes? So if you're a beginner or an intermediate player, I would say have your guitar as high as possible so it still feels comfortable. If you've been playing for a few years and you're a few advanced, maybe sort of drop it down a little bit, but I would really just try and start with your guitar being nice and high. So that, let's say I'm like sitting down at the moment. Now, if I was sitting down and let's say, you know, my leg was raised and I was sitting on a normal chair and not a stand-up desk, this is where the guitar would be. Now, as you can see, when I stand up, it's going to drop down ever so slightly. Maybe only like an inch or a few centimeters. So if I was sitting, it would be about here. And if I was standing, it just drops down a little bit. And so that's, for me, it's so comfortable so that if I'm playing a lead, so that if I'm playing a lead, I don't really have to think, oh, it's really uncomfortable. My hand, my wrist is at an awkward angle. It's gonna be really hard to play that lead. I don't really have to think about that at all because it's so close to how I would normally practice by sitting down with the guitar on either leg, because it's so close to that height. It's only a tiny bit lower. So for me, it makes sense. When I'm sort of playing standing up, I want it to be really comfortable so that all I have to think about is the sound and the emotion of what I'm sort of feeling. Now, if you do want to have, you know, maybe you're in a punk rock band or a metal band and you want to have your guitar really, really low, what I would suggest, the biggest tip of all, is do two different things. What I would suggest is actually practice sitting down and practice standing up. So let's say you're just playing something like, let's say you're playing like Thunderstruck or you're playing any sort of your favorite riffs, right? What I would do is practice them sitting down and then spend that same amount of time practicing them standing up. So let's say you were practicing guitar for like 20 minutes, okay? 10 minutes sitting down, 10 minutes doing the same thing standing up, so that you know when it goes to you're actually performing, or you're rocking out at home, or you're standing up, or you're in your friend's garage, or you're playing with your bandmates, you know that you've spent equal amount of time sitting and practiced and really focused, and standing up and sort of in like a performance mode. But ultimately, those are my thoughts. So as a recap, try as high as you can and just see how that feels. Gradually lower it a little bit. Now, if you do want it really, really low to the point where it's, you know, sort of past the belt section, it's quite low, like that old school sort of Metallica thing, maybe just try and practice sitting down and practice standing up. So split that practice time in half. But that's been it. If you've got any more questions, definitely leave a comment below, or again, message me on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Now, if you do want to learn more sort of guitar theory, check out these videos, or if you want to learn more sort of practical modern methods, check out this series. But I've been Pat from Pat's Music, and I'll see you very, very soon.